Well, hello there, my beautiful brothers and sisters of the global human family. I'm broadcasting to you live and direct from the telephone from Commercial Road in the East End of London, which is the old country. It's where my father came from. And quite often, if you've read any of my books, I make these silly jokes when I'm talking about the Tao, sometimes calling it Sid the Barber of Commercial Road, because there was this barber down here when I was a kid. My granddad used to bring me here occasionally as a special treat for a haircut on a Saturday morning. And it was where all the gangsters used to come, like the Cray brothers and all the Cray twins and all of that lot. And there was a manicurist called, I can't remember her name, but she was like amazing. She is who I modelled the Universal Dinner Lady on in Manifesto book. She was like a really sexy, sort of late 40s, bouffant hair, because remember this is like the 60s, early 60s. And really tarty, and she used to have all these jokes going on with all these hoods in the you know, sitting in their chairs having their hair cut and everything, with risque innuendos that I didn't understand, but everyone laughed, so I used to laugh along with them. And one day said to Bob, said, "What are you laughing at? You don't understand, do you?" And I said, "No, but I just like laughing with everybody." And he said something about, "You like making people happy, don't you?" And I do. I've just done a day with John Parkin, put on a day for me here. He called it Barefoot Living, where we spent the day exploring the human condition, and very much linked with what we're doing here at the Satsang today. This series, this sequence, is in honor of the Tai Chi state. I mean, I've been doing Tai Chi for since my late teens, so that 40 years or so now. And it's a beautiful art. I never wanted to become one of those Tai Chi people who just does Tai Chi and that's all they do for the whole of their lives, because I thought at an early age I made that decision it would be too unidimensional, because Tai Chi as a practice is only the practice of it. State is what you want to have all the time. And my dedication has been to somehow or other find ways of translating the state that you achieve through doing the practice of Tai Chi for people who don't have the time or inclination to study the actual Tai Chi itself. And of course I would always highly recommend anybody to do that. It's an amazing art to learn. Very easy to learn once you know it. It's the learning of it that's tricky, because you've got to kind of learn the postures. It's not difficult to do. It can be done. In fact, there's a training you can do off the website, which is like you're having a private lesson with me. You just go at your own pace and you can learn the whole form like that. That gives you the physical sensation of how it feels to be in a state of meditation, transcendent meditation, all the time. Because that's the idea of it. It's not meant to be something that you just do when you're doing Tai Chi practice, in the same way as meditation isn't something you're just meant to do sitting down with your eyes closed or what have you. The idea is that we learn to be in the world but not of it. So we learn to walk here as angels, but as angels we effective. You know, we do what we have to do in the world and we do it well. We do it though as beings who have come here to make it beautiful for everybody. And, of course, make it beautiful for ourselves. And we do this not because we're trying to be nice people or trying to be kind or trying to be good or any of that stuff. It's really just because if the world is happier, we're happier. We live in a better environment. It's a natural human urge. I think that the people who get dedicated to violence and oppression and causing suffering and making it ugly for people really would love to be making it beautiful for people, but they just didn't find the way. At a certain crucial juncture in childhood, they just didn't find the way to do that. And so it got twisted and perverted into making it horrible and ugly for people instead. But if they could have, they would have done it. They would have done it to make it beautiful for everybody, because that is the natural human instinct, to make it beautiful for everybody. And overall, when you look around at the world, we have done that. You know, all things considered, when you consider how many people, 7 billion people, all of them with different agendas, different senses of who they are and what all of this is, when you consider all the conflicting opinions and belief systems and agendas that people have and the different models of reality, we've actually done incredibly miraculously well. I know that we are facing huge challenges beyond anything that's been in our history at the moment, many of them as a result of our own doings or our ancestors' doings. But nonetheless, all things considered, as things stand at this very moment in time, the majority of us live in harmony, relatively speaking. The majority of us live in peace, relatively speaking. And the majority of us do live well with each other. And we've made a beautiful show of it all. You know, we've made the cities look pretty amazing, and the way we get around and the way we do things and the way we entertain each other and the way we keep it moving along the story. It's a miracle. We've done really, really, really well at this, and we can do a lot better as well. And what's exciting is that the ancient ways, the Taoist, for example, but you could take it from any part of the world you like, the ways of the ancient wise people are resurfacing. They have been for about 150 years or so. They've been coming back, poking their head through the veneer of Cartesian logic and rationality. And there's a growing awareness now of the ancient wisdom, the way to negotiate your passage through your time on earth with your brothers and sisters optimally, in a way that will give your life the most meaning and give everybody else's life the most meaning around you. And we're privileged to have this knowledge available to us. And the Tai Chi way is a very big part of that for me. It means literally the supreme ultimate. And when you consider what the supreme are, when you take hyperbole away, if you assume people who were living a very grounded existence, you know, these ancient Taoist sages, they were not given to hyperbole. They wouldn't just blather on about things being brilliant when they weren't. So for them to call something the supreme ultimate, that it's without hyperbole, this is quite a big statement. The supreme ultimate that they're referring to is none other than the Tao itself. And it's the aspect of the Tao which we would say is the immanent aspect of the Tao. It's that part of it that we can actually somehow touch and interface with. And it's this world, the world of the 10,000 things. When we train our minds to see what the Native Americans would call the Great Spirit, when we train ourselves to see Sid the Barber inside everything, inside every phenomenon, inside every piece of tarmac on the road in front of me, inside every car that's passing by, inside every traffic light change that's occurring, inside every bit of communication over telephone networks and internet networks, and every emotion and every feeling and every brick and every building and every road and every air flight path and absolutely every aspect of our world, when you can see that all of that is informed by this presence, this mysterious invisible presence, which has supreme consciousness and supreme awareness, and it is the ultimate state that one can achieve or touch while still in human form. That is what Tai Chi actually means. It's a state of being. And it's not something that we have to conjure up. It's something that already exists. It's just a matter of training our eyes to see it. And the way we do that is by dropping back behind all the noise that we generate inside. In the same way as we do in the Tai Chi practice, but we're doing it now in a sitting, lying down or standing position for the purposes of us coming together here. And each week of this sequence we'll be touching on a different element, because the Taoist, from whence all this comes, divided reality, or the world of matter. Well, they say it's subtended by 5 distinct elements, or what we would call today God particles. And the one we're starting with today is the element of fire. The fire element is the one that brings passion. It's the one that brings excitement. It's the one that brings beauty. the one that brings courage in the face of adversity. It's the one that brings nobility of character. It's the one that brings the caring nature that we all have, that wants to make it beautiful for everybody. This is the fire. This is what the fire does. And the fire expresses itself in the human body through the heart. Each of the elements expresses itself through one of the 5 vital organs. And the fire expresses itself through the heart, which they say is the emperor or the empress of the entire psychophysical system that you've built. Now the heart, the fire, is responsible for giving you the sense of who you are, your sense of self. It's what Freud would call the ego, not in any pejorative sense at all. It's the sense of the structure of your being. It's the character, actually, is what it is. The heart energy supports the character. When the heart energy is strong and flowing, the character is healthy. The character is a whole character, a wholesome character. There aren't any bits missing. There aren't any bits that have been split off or disguised or covered over by lies and obfuscations, which Freud called your ego defenses, pride and vanity and insecurity-based lies that we tell ourselves and each other rather than being our true, authentic selves. The heart energy, when it's strong, is what gives us this ability to be authentic, to be who and what we really are, which is spirit, if you like. What we are is massive presence. What we are is actually the Tao itself. It's just that to be able to live in the human world, we have had to learn to constrict our vision and our awareness of what and who we are, to be able to fit in with the human game. We learn this as children, and if we're fortunate enough to have enlightened parents and enlightened teachers, we will not close down on our true identity. We'll remember who and what we are, and we'll know how to deal with it. But most of us have not had that privilege, and so we have the privilege instead of retrieving our real selves, our original selves. We have the privilege and the joy of retrieving the connection to who and what we really are, which is this great spirit, this massive presence, this Tao. And that's what we're going to be doing here. But the ability to do this comes from the fire. It comes from the fire passing through the heart. It's the quality of energy, in other words, that supports this enterprise of being who we really are and giving from the depths of who we are and receiving in the depths, at the depths of who we really are. This is afforded us by the fire quality in the energy. So today is in honor of the fire. The creative power of the fire, as opposed to the destructive power of the fire, because it obviously has the power to do both. The sun, fire, is what gives us life, and it's also a fire that can destroy us. And today we're focusing on the life-giving, affirmative, creative aspect of the sun's energy, the power that keeps us all alive, that makes our hearts warm, that makes us happy, and that makes us joyful. The heart as well, the fire energy in the body, is also what supports our ability to retain memory over a long period of time. So I'm not talking about short-term memory, which is governed by the earth element through the spleen. I'm talking about the long-term memory, the sense of what happened to you over a long period of time, since you were born, even if you're really clear in the memory, since you were conceived. And to be able to make peace with that, to be able to look back on everything that has happened to you in your life. And obviously when you do, you only see a series of brief snapshots. But it's enough to get a sense of who you are and what you've come from and what you are. The story that created you, the unlikely story of your childhood and how it developed into who you are now. And all the pain that you went through at the hands of others, and then subsequently from having learned that by mimicking others at your own hand, because that's what happens, is when the adults or peers bully us as children, and it does happen to everybody pretty much, I think, we learn from them to bully ourselves. So if somebody treats you, inadvertently mostly, and certainly not in a malign way, but in a malicious way, they just, without realizing it, give you a withering look or a critical remark, at the wrong moment that really, really offends or affects you or upends you in an unkind way, you mimic that strangely. And so then you will become unkind to yourself in your mind as you're talking to yourself without even knowing it. And that's what a lot of people are doing. They're walking around being horrible to themselves. And you can't make your life beautiful and the lives of everyone around you beautiful when you're being horrible to yourself. It can only become when you're being kind to yourself. So when you look back at your life and everything that's happened to you, we're now going to look back and thank everything that happened, the horrible bits, the beautiful bits, the lovely bits, the nasty bits, the easy bits, the difficult bits, the comforting bits, the scary bits, all of it, the twisted bits, the straight bits, all of the stuff that happened, the stuff that you've done that was out of order, the stuff that you've done that was brilliant, the stuff that other people have done to you that was out of order, or to other people that was out of order that you didn't do anything to stop, but the stuff that other people have done that you've learned from that's been beautiful and wonderful and inspiring, and the same, all the beautiful, wonderful things you've done yourself, for yourself and for everyone around you. To look at all of it and embrace all of it from the back of you, as it were, because it is behind you, and say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for this story that I have lived until this point. Because none of us know when we're going to be dying. None of us do know. So it's very important to always be up to date with our gratitude for what has come before, so that if at any moment we're required to leave the planet, which at some moment we all will be, you can do so up to date, going, thank you, that was amazing, rather than, oh, I never got a chance to even, realize I was on the planet. This is the moment for us to look back and go, like, thank you, wow, what a story that's got me to this point. And then thank you for this now, where I am now. And then thank you for what's coming, because what's coming is the exciting bit, because it hasn't happened yet. And in other words, we're going to make love with destiny tonight. That's what we're here to do, to make love with destiny. And in doing so, to invite a slew of beautiful blessings to each of our lives, and by extension to the lives of everyone around us. So what we're going to do tonight is invoke the spirit of beauty in its deepest, most primordial sense, and infuse all aspects of our lives with it. And this is going to then serve as a kind of contagion that will infect everyone around us with beauty, with the essence of beauty. So that by doing what we're doing today, the miracles, like we've just seen in the Ukraine, for example, of the ex-president being released from prison, which was never going to happen normally, that kind of miracle that happens is going to become more and more commonplace. There's going to be more and more beautiful things happening in the world. We have reached that time where it is possible. And we, each of us, have the power to affect the general warp and weft of reality for everyone else as well. It's very subtle, and it may seem like we're doing almost nothing at all, but it's the subtle moves that affect the macro conditions hugely. I'm only learning this myself, appreciating more and more now that it doesn't have to be gross, it doesn't have to be loud or banging. It can be really quiet and discreet, the move that you make, the intervention that you make, and it will have the effect. It will have the effect. And in any case, we are not here to create effects. Effects will occur on themselves. We're here to appreciate being here. We're here to enjoy being here to the extent where in this moment we can all say, I love this. I love being alive. I love being alive. And that's where it all begins. That's where the magic starts, by saying, I love being alive. Because everything else will then follow on from that. So if you want to just take a moment to appreciate that everyone is in here with you, a few hundred people all the way around the planet. And I know for a fact, because of some of the people who told me that they're coming, that there are some lovely, lovely, lovely people here. And just get a sense that we're freed from our bodies, as it were, because here we are, just sort of incorporeal consciousnesses connected by the miracle of technology and consciousness, that we are these beautiful spirits sitting here all the way around the planet, and we're getting ready to do something. And partly it's self-full, so partly it's about making our own lives feel beautiful, primarily that, because it has to start with that. And then it's with the intention of making it beautiful for everyone we each know, even including especially the people who are giving us jib and aggravation, and to heal heal everybody in our worlds, including ourselves, and for that to extend without limit, so that our entire human family is graced by the effects of what we do tonight. Just take a moment to appreciate that. And then take a moment to take stock of how you're feeling, the phenomenon of being alive, of being a human being on the planet at this moment, of it all. If you had to create all of this from scratch, how hard would that be? So just a moment of appreciating the ineffable miracle of being here. That we have consciousness, we have technology, we have bodies, we have freedom to move our bodies and to move our minds and so on. Just to appreciate this and take stock of where you are in it, how you're feeling in it. And note in your body the areas that feel uncomfortable. Note where you're holding on or holding yourself rigid. And shuffle about and ease those places off. So if your stomach is feeling tight, shift about a bit so that your stomach eases. You might want to put your hand on the stomach and massage it gently just to get it to soften and relax a little bit. And the chest is another area. And while you're doing this, you might want to close your eyes and let your mind, your normal thinking mind, drift off. And as you do this, put your hand on your chest and use your fingers and thumb to ease whatever tension there might be in your chest, as if you're getting ready to open this part of your body so that your love can shine more freely. Note your breathing, and if it's a bit irregular, make it even. So kind of, if you need to, count the in-breath, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then breathe out, 2, 3, 4, and then in and slow it down a bit more, so you go 5 maybe, and then breathe out. And as you breathe in, you're drawing new life into you. Appreciate it, love it, value it. As I say, you might want to close your eyes. As you breathe out, you might want to insert a bit of sound into it, just going, ah, kind of like you would to a baby to make it feel calm. Ah, which also happens to be the sound that ignites the fire in the body. It's the healing sound for the fire. So you just sigh a little bit more, and let everything soft. Let the breath flow freely. And imagine that someone is lifting the crown of your head upwards towards the ceiling. Or if you're lying down, pulling the crown of your head away from your hips. So give some length to the back of your neck. So the spine unfurls itself. It's no longer so cramped. You get a sense of your spine growing longer. Drop your shoulders so they're not up around your ears, and let them broaden. Let the breastbone slide slightly upwards against your chest, so that there's a feeling of nobility or regality about you. Let yourself feel regal. You are the queen or the king of no matter what right now. And know that this is your time, and that you are entitled to do magic in your world. You're entitled to ordain transformation according to your will, providing your will is in accord with the will of the Tao, in other words, for the highest good of everyone. And it's going to create more harmony, more joy, more creativity, more generation of beauty. Your will be done. And when in combination with the will of a crowd of other people as is gathered here, with a similar intention, the power of your will is intensified, multiplied exponentially. So here you are, and you're breathing, and your body's relaxed, and your spine is lengthened, your shoulders are broadened, so you maximize your internal space. And normally are held in thrall by the world around you, which your sense organs perceive out in front of you, therefore drawn into the front of your body where all the tension is. But instead now, luxuriate in this. Picture your shoulder blades and the front of your spine and your rear pelvic bones and your sacral bone as comprising the back of a very sturdy, comfortable, well-designed chair, your internal throne. And as the queen or the king of no matter what, take this moment to sit back in your throne. You're the queen, you're the king. Sit back in your throne. And imagine you've got your arms on the lovely plush velvet armrest, and you're really sat back, leaning right back and being supported by the extremely sturdy, well-designed, comfortable back of the chair, the throne. And as much as you're leaning back, you're also sinking down. So you're leaning back into the back of the throne, but you're also sinking down into it, so that the base of your spine is sinking down into the throne, and therefore finding its support there. It sinks down until it feels perfectly supported. So you're sitting right back and sitting right down inside, perfectly supported from the sacral level upwards, and you're in the back of you. And you'll notice that being in the back of you, the front of you is quieter now. It's not as jumbled, it's not as confused. The emotional turmoil normally going on in the solar plexus and the heart area has quietened somewhat. And now, if you also visualize that the skull is a cave, the sacred cave, high up in the sacred mountains, and you are a little Buddha sitting inside the cave, which has a floor to it. You know, caves have floors, a little rough, but it's a floor. And if you just very slightly tilt your head back as a gesture to cause the little Buddha in your cave to slide back along the floor until it is resting up against the rear interior wall of the skull. So now the little Buddha of consciousness is sitting back at the back of the cave, leaning up against the rear wall of the cave, the rear wall of your skull, gazing out into infinity through the mouth of the cave, which is where the bridge of your nose would be, you know, the base of your forehead in the middle there. Gazing into infinity. And you'll notice as you do this that the normal noise in the front of the brain that's comprised of the conversation you're having with yourself that you use to uphold your descriptions of reality has stopped. There's no noise. There's no conversation. There's no debate. There's no questioning. There's no part of your mind playing devil's advocate with the other part. It's all just quiet. What a relief. What a blessed relief. This is meditation. And now you sitting back there, the Buddha of consciousness in the back of the head, gazing into infinity, no thought, no agenda, just sitting, observing. If thoughts arise, they're like clouds passing by the mouth of the cave from one side to the other. No need to follow them, no need to get on a cloud to see where it's going, no need to analyze a cloud or evaluate a cloud, they're just clouds. These are the thoughts, they come and go, they come, they're irrelevant. You're in the back in a state of perfect peace. And you're supported by this grounded being leaning back into the throne beneath that's so solid and so powerful. And you're now fully in command of what's going on in the front of your body. And because you're breathing slowly, the tension is draining away from the solar plexus. And now we come to the heart. So it's really important that we stay connected to each other at the heart level rather than go into a transcendent aloofness. First thing is by raising the breastbone just a tad. It's like raising the hood over an opening, just so that you can open the thing up. And now, slide the two halves of the breastbone with your mind apart. So it's like a pair of sliding doors opening. And inside the chest, in front of you, because you're still behind all of this, in front of you there is this jewel, or this complex of jewels, that just sits there. It's what the Hindus would call the heart chakra. It's what the Taoists would call the crimson palace. And it just sits there, radiating a beautiful rose gold light. This is the core of your beautiful essence, the gorgeousness of you. When you went to school, before you ever met another child being horrible, before you ever encountered anyone being really that horrible to you, before you ever thought to yourself, well, it's not safe to be kind, it's not safe to let my beauty shine because people are dangerous. Before you even had that thought, there is this purity, this essence in you. Your natural self just wants to be beautiful. It just wants to radiate love and kindness and goodness all around. And it wants to receive it from everybody too, by reciprocation. And that's beautiful, that's good. It doesn't have to be a selfless act, this. It can be selfless and self-full. So in your giving, you're also receiving. And this is all facilitated by the jewel by the essence of your very, very being. Now, this essence is so powerful that it projects itself out in front of you a little bit into a kind of an orb that floats mysteriously in front of the chest, just outside your physical form, as part of your etheric body. And this orb is like the transformer, the conductor that garners all the love that arises from within you and radiates it out freely to all parts of existence and non-existence, and simultaneously gathers in all the love that is being radiated by all awake, loving beings, especially to start with everybody in this satsang, but everybody on the planet, and for all we know throughout the universe, that has a loving intention, a loving agenda right now. And we must assume that there are legions of these, because we are, and why would there therefore not be countless others doing similar? People radiating love at this moment. So allow yourself to receive this love coming in. Let it come in through the orb that sits in front of you, and then drawing it into yourself through the opening in the chest, into the jewel where it's stored, and gets brighter and stronger by the second with every breath. Simultaneously, you sending the love out to everybody. And it's like tendrils of heart energy, tendrils of fire, tendrils of this fiery love, extending from the core of you to everyone, every single living sentient being throughout existence, and specifically and especially and primarily to everybody here in this satsang. And the tendrils of love are conducting the fire energy in both directions, both outwards and inwards, from you and to you. And here you sit right now. And now you're really strong because you're bolstered by the love of all your brothers and sisters. Here you are, bolstered. Now, so we're safe, and now we're going to do the next step. Leaning into your back as you are aware of your past. You're aware of all the bits of your past that are broken, that need healing right now. All the bits that need forgiving, both of yourself and of others, the forgiveness of you, the forgiveness of others. The things that pop into your mind randomly that you did that you're ashamed of. The things that others did to you that transgressed, and yet somehow left you feeling ashamed, and really it must have been them that should be ashamed, and so on. All the things that you split off and avoided owning, that you're ashamed of and make you feel disgusted about yourself, that you hide and cover over with makeup and, metaphorically speaking, and clothing and ways of being. All these bits that lie behind you, all the broken bits. Now allow the love, the rose gold vapor, this light emanating from the jewel in your chest, being reinforced by the power coming off the orb in front of you, to move backwards through you, and to move backwards out of your back, as it were, into the scenario of your past, however that looks to you in this moment, and to touch, firstly, all those broken bits, all the horrible, shameful, disgusting, smelly bits that you've disowned, that you thought we shouldn't ever see the light of day. Let this rose gold light go to those places and heal them. Let those places be filled with this rose gold light, and see them spring back to life. See what was dead come back to life there. See what was disowned be re-owned. See what was disclaimed be reclaimed. Feel it. See the light go into every part that was broken and mend it instantaneously. Until when you look back now at you in your past since you were conceived, what you see is nothing really but rose gold light suffusing every cell of your picture. Every atom of your picture is suffused by this rose gold light, healing everything, making everything whole, joining everything up, forgiving all transgressions, smoothing out all the pain, all the suffering, until it's all gone. All suffering and pain has gone, dissolved. And all there is this beautiful state of healed self that you've come from, that you've developed from. And in this moment, you can give thanks for all of it bathed in the rose gold healing light. It neutralizes all the suffering and all the transgressions done by you or to you, all healed now, all absolved, all forgiven. And you can be thankful for it. This is your story so far. And behind that, in another dimension, your ancestors, and who are living on some plane, because everything is happening in the same moment. This idea of linear time is a construct of ours. And within that notion, you can somehow feel your ancestors on some plane still with you. You don't know them, you don't know who they were, but there are a few when you look back through time that you definitely resonate with, the ones that you take after, that you carry the qualities of. And you can see them almost waving at you from back there, from behind, going, hey, hey, jumping up and down in the queue there, you know, hey, me, you, yeah, I love you. I'm really proud of you doing what you're doing in the world right now. You feel the force of your ancestors coming through for you, and give thanks for them, because without them, none of us would be here. So thank you to the ancestors. Thank you to everyone who's gone before, who's gone through the hardship and pain of the human life, come out the other end of it, and as a result of which, here I am. Thank you, all of you. And you can feel a sense of presence forming from all of that. Your own past, bathed in gold light, your ancestors now bathed in this rose gold light as well. There's a presence from it all coming back at you. And we call this presence the guardian. And it's surrounding you now. It's much bigger than your physical form. It's rather huge, in fact. And this is your protective entity. This is, if you like, your angel that will guard you at all times from all harm and make sure that you are guided to the highest good, come what may. And miraculously so whenever you give it the nod to do so. And that's the presence that is surrounding you now. That's your protective presence. It's with you right now. So feel that. Give thanks for it. Say hello to it. Let it say hello to you. Get the feeling of being in this protective presence. And now let's look at what's coming, the future, destiny. Now, destiny is something that for some reason or other we've grown up to believe is our nemesis, something that must be outfoxed, outguessed, and avoided almost, because it will lead to death, because if death is this awful thing. Well, let's reframe it now. Destiny is our beloved. Destiny is our friend. Destiny is coming anyway. We can't stop it. So why resist it? Why make it the enemy? How silly. Let's make it our friend. It's our choice to do so. It's our right to do so. So look at destiny coming in front of you, and you dare say it's an angel. See destiny coming at you, and it's an angel. We don't know what it comprises. We don't know what it's bringing. We know it will bring its yin and its yang. We know it will bring its mix of the 5 elements, its pain, its sorrow, its grief, its anger, its fear, but it will also bring its joy and its power and its confidence and its triumphs and its pleasure. It will bring everything. And that's all the Tao loving you. That's all of that is the Tao loving you. So why fight any of it? Let's open to it now. Let's be bold warriors. Let's be real bold warriors now and open ourselves to receive destiny graciously as our guest, our beloved guest in our house. So you receive it, it's an angel, and when it knows that you're doing this, it treats you so much better. Destiny is so honored now that you've recognized it, you've acknowledged it as your ally, your friend. It comes to you. And it comes in as an energy through your temples. And from your temples down into your thymus at the top of the chest, and from there down into the heart region. Feel that happen. Feel destiny enter your body as a force, an energetic force, bringing with all the blessings that you so want in your heart. Feel it enter you now through the temples, down into your chest, upper chest and middle chest. And then from your chest, feel the energy circle backwards and embrace the guardian. So that the guardian entity, the guardian angel that is protecting you, all around you, behind you, is now embracing the angel of destiny that is coming in through the front. The two of them embracing causes an explosion of energy within you, a benign explosion of energy that raises you up to the next level of awareness. And in this next level of awareness, become aware that behind you is the iceberg of which the front of you is merely the tip. So what shows of you in this world is the tiniest fraction of what you actually are. The physical form, the face, personality, the actions you take, your doings that you do in this lifetime is just the tip of the iceberg of who and what you are. And therefore you can imagine the scale and scope and size, the epic proportions of what the rest of the iceberg is, which is behind you. That is the background presence. That is the Tao. That's the primordial self that has been here from before the time there was even light, from before the time there was even sound, from before the time there was life. There was this primordial self of the universe just being. And this is what sits behind you right now. This is your primordial self. This is the primordial self coming through as you. And only you can do this. Only you can carry this unique way of expressing it. Only you can provide this exact filter. And that's why we're all here, to provide these gifts for each other. And here we are doing it. So behind you, you have this huge, massive presence, the background presence. And you're leaning into it. You're just leaning into it, leaning into it, and everything is safe. Everything is fine. The heart is open. Destiny is coming towards you constantly, bringing it in its wake, all the blessings that you want. And feel yourself opening to receive. So you're fully backed up inside. You're backed up all the way, and your chest is open, and you're fully open to receiving. And you say to it, the big presence, I am now willing to receive all the blessings my heart desires. And feel it coming into you. Feel it coming in through your heart, through your open heart. This massive rush of energy that is carrying all the blessings that you want. The freedom to move and to express yourself, the joyfulness, the harmony in your relationships, the people that are in your life, the opportunities that present themselves, the way you spend your time, how you spend your time, where you spend your time, with whom you spend your time, all of it. Your entire desire field, the essence of everything beautiful that you want and so rightly deserve in your life. You feel it streaming in with full force through your chest, like fire, like creative fire, igniting every cell of your being, igniting every atom, every molecule, every subatomic particle of your being is now ignited by this fire. You're on fire. You're on fire at the deepest level of your being, ready to create everything with gusto, with enthusiasm, with energy, with stamina, with positivity, with brightness of mind, with love, with joy, with caring. And now see yourself in a world peopled by awake, beautiful, kind, aware people like all of us right now. See this spreading like a contagion to everybody. See people kind of wanting to be horrible but not actually remembering how to anymore. See people kind of wanting to trick people up but then actually not remembering what to do to make it happen, as if they've forgotten how to be horrible. See this so powerful that it actually spreads everywhere and causes everyone to go, I love it here. I love being alive. And I love being alive with everybody. And I know that to make it work for me, I have to make it work for everybody. So I stick to my agreements. I'm reciprocal with everything I do. I'm honourable. I'm respectful of all life. And imagine every single person on the planet coming to this realization right now. Just imagine it. Imagine the whole world breathing out a sigh of relief, a huge, at the same time, thank you, thank you. Now, from that very simple process, we have instigated an unstoppable momentum, a process that can't be stopped now. It's intractable. And this will bring, over the coming days, signs to you. There will be things happening in your relations with other people will become surprisingly different. Not necessarily all sweet at the beginning, but there will be movement, there will be change. And from this change will come healing, will come harmony. And it will affect every part of your life. There will be change in this coming week. This will happen. And it won't all be sweet, doesn't matter, there's always the yin and the yang. But from the movement, from the change, will come all the blessings that you want and deserve and are entitled to. So with that thought in your mind, compress the picture of all of it into the size of a tiny pea. Put the pea inside your chest, right in the jewel where you'll notice there's this little place for it, especially. And this little pea of light, with this image of everything beautiful in your life, is sitting there now in the jewel of your heart. And now, without becoming closed-hearted at all, just close the chest up to protect yourself. Feel yourself in the back of your body, in command, feeling energized, feeling powerful, feeling confident. Wiggle your toes, wiggle your nose, wiggle your fingers, move your head around a little bit, move your buttocks around a little bit, jiggle and shake a little bit, bring the circulation back into your body, open your eyes if you're feeling to, and let's do some Q&A. We've got like about 10 minutes or so of questions and answers. I'll pass us over to Sue to explain the run-ins.
Hello. Okay, here's the first question from Penny. After losing my job nearly 2 years ago, I am still searching for my role. Do you have any tips?
For her role, did you say?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, Penny, I think that we have to kind of go broad with it, really, and start with what fascinates you the most. You know, what do you find yourself drawn to doing or thinking about in the world the most? Because that's what gives the clue of where the role is. Secondly, I think to say to the big self, by backing up properly inside, say, guide me to where I can be of most service here. Because the being of service and how you can be of most service is what gives the essence of the role. That's what guides, determines the role. And then the rest of it, by coming into your back often enough and clearly enough, will just arise from within as intuition. There'll be feelings of impulses to phone somebody or email somebody or walk down a certain street or notice a sign or on a passing van or whatever it is, and pictures will start forming. The fact is, Penny, you already know what it is. You know what it is. It's just that you're obscuring that knowledge from yourself because it hasn't yet been time to do it. Now it's probably the time, which is why you're asking the question. And so it's what's fascinating you the most. And it can be really something silly. It could be like chickens or headdresses or wing mirrors or whatever it is. I mean, I don't know. It could be something really daft, apparently, the thing that's fascinating you most. And then you go towards that, you look at it, and from there pictures will open up. And from those pictures you'll be guided to the vision of where it is that you're most required to be applying your energy on the planet. I hope that helps you. But also, I know that you're going to find what it is within about the next week or so. I bet you. Let me know. Let me know.
This next one is from Grace.
What, from who, sorry?
Grace.
Grace. I love that name.
I'm working my way through your Tai Chi short form. Which parts of the form are related to fire and the heart?
Which part of the form are related to the heart? Well, Xing Yi, which is the older sister of Tai Chi, is a lot more clearly delineated between, you know, there are those moves for the elements, the fire move, for example. Tai Chi, because it was a relatively newer and therefore more sophisticated and evolved form, didn't put so much delineation between the various aspects. But with the short form, for example, when you get to the fair lady working at the shuttles, where one arm goes up, kind of circles upwards almost above the head as if you were protecting yourself from a sword blow that was coming down on your head, that does. The step back to embrace tiger, which comes after that, after the squatting single whip at the end, is also a fire move. The parry part of deflect, parry and punch, which comes towards the end of the first section, is a fire move. Off the top of my head, I can't really think of any others. But the thing is with the short form, relative to the long form, it's so short that it doesn't really matter. Because if you go through it, you know, once you know it, and it takes like a couple of minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever, depending on your speed. When by the time you got to the end of it, all your organs have had a damn good bathing in Qi, and the heart probably the most, because it is the most important organ there is. And that's why Tai Chi is said to improve circulation and, you know, improve the health of your heart, so on and so forth. So really, it's all of them. It doesn't really matter. Just do it. But the tiger ones and the fair lady ones are generally they're the fire.
This is a two-part question from Afka.
Yeah.
Lately, I feel a stranger in this world and how absurd most worldly circumstances appear. I feel alone these days. Any ideas? That's part one.
Did you say lonely? Because it's a weird sound of cutting in and out. Did you say lonely?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, Afka, I know that feeling. It's a good one, actually, because it's a precursor to its opposite. This generally happens. It's a sort of contraction of the spirit that happens before the next opening into the awareness of the connectedness of us all, that opening into the continuum. And by coming backwards inside the body, into the presence, and by bit, because none of this stuff happens all at once necessarily. It's subtle and it's discreet. It's not melodramatic or spectacular. And it's daily incremental practice that builds up an exponential progress in the whole thing. Some days you feel it, some days you don't. And but by daily practice of coming backwards inside and with the heart open and backing up into the big presence behind you, you start spontaneously to become more aware that every single person, no matter their disguise, is also that. Every single other person is also the big presence, expressed in fancy dress as this person standing in front of you. And by doing that, by seeing that, it immediately dismantles the sense of alone, of separatedness, of being separate from everybody. It actually gives you that feeling of being at one with the continuum of everyone at a deep heart level. But it's not a social level. It's not the usual intellectually related social level that's to do with, oh, they like me, oh, I'm part of something here, or isn't this nice to belong to this group, or it's none of that. It's on a deeper level than that. It's at the level of the heart, so it's a pure sense of belonging to the family, to the human family, and them belonging to you. And then, once in that space, if focusing the mind on giving energy, so if you focus the mind on sending your love out to everybody, you blessing the world each day, all your brothers and sisters, everybody without exception, and then being open to receiving the same coming back to you, that's the final bit that will dispel the sense of alienation and loneliness. So it's a perfect question for this, because it's the fire energy which is the antidote to the coldness of alienation, and that's what we've been doing. So I believe, or I suspect, that in the next few days you will stop feeling that alienation and feel the connectedness instead.
And part two of Afka's question.
Yes.
I moved house 2 months ago, and the previous occupants had a lot of problems with themselves and the neighbourhood. Could it be that
Yes.
the turmoil is still affecting me, and is there a need to cleanse or purify? Instead of jumping with...
Is there a need for what? I mean, you're cutting out. Is there a need for what?
Is there a need to cleanse or purify, cleansing or purification? Instead of jumping with joy, I am tired, down and out of balance, so not me.
I would say, yeah, I would say definitely give it a cleansing. It's always good to do that anyway. The Native Americans always do it as a matter of course. When a friend moves into, when I moved into a new place in New Mexico, they all came around to the ceremony, and lots of clapping to dispel any negative energy, any negative spirits, and various smudge stick stuff, and praying in a nice way, not like creepy praying, like, hey, great spirit, keep my brother safe in this house, make him happy here, make everything work for him, all that kind of thing. So walking around talking to the spirit like that, and making, telling it what you want the place to be filled with, the kind of energy you want it to be filled with. And that will, I suspect, doing that act, because it's kind of, it sounds, yeah, go on, that's easy enough to do. It's not actually that easy to do, because you've got to get yourself into the right space and not feel like a Charlie, like really get into it and give it your all. And that's not so easy to do. So when you've done it, you will feel that lightness will start coming back. And it's good. It's good to feel the darkness that you feel first, because That's the yin to the yang. So give thanks for this horrible tiredness that you've had, because out of that is coming the opposite, which is the energized, beautiful, enthusiastic you, which will be coming this week, I suspect. Last question, yeah?
Okay. This is from Sylvia. Why is evil manifesting in so many ways nowadays, when I know that darkness is necessary for the light to shine, and still it seems so absurd? Is there a dark part of the Tao manifesting as war or pre-wars? Why is there an elite who wants to depopulate the world? Why are we being poisoned in all kinds of ways? How do we deal with all that? Just like an observer?
Well, I'd say, Sylvia, that we deal with it like we have been tonight, because you can't destroy darkness. You can only shine your light brighter, and that's what we've been doing. And we mustn't despair. We must keep our courage up, and we must keep the vision strong. And I know from personal experience there are enough times where you really feel like it's pointless, and you feel that sense of dispiritedness and despair and all the rest of it. I know, it happens to all of us. And we just have to stay strong with our vision. We have to stay strong with the way we want it to be. And we provide that. That's how we serve. And we have to give thanks for the people who are playing out the dark roles, because somebody has to do it. It's a horrible thing to do. It's not nice being in that role. It's horrible. It's horrible because it's horrible. So it's like you've got to somehow give thanks to those people for playing that role. They have to play that role so that we can play this role. There has to be the dark, so that, as you said it yourself, so that the light can be. You can't have one without the other. The idea is to keep it 51% minimum in the light balance, and that's what we're doing. And overall, when you look at the world, it is at least 51% in the balance of the positive and the healthy and the beautiful, because most of us are not being killed every day. And as for all the rest of it, you know, whether those people, there are people trying to do that stuff or not trying to do that stuff or whatever, nothing is as strong as love, eventually. Nothing. You know, and the healing intention that love carries eventually prevails. It always has done and it always will do. And that's what we must stay firm with. We mustn't despair. We have to be strong. We have to help each other, all us brothers and sisters, stay really strong and keep the love radiating, keep the intention clear. And we're making it happen. It is. It's working. It's working. Overall, we're winning. We are winning. We are winning. And we will prevail. And on that note, I wish you...
Before you
yes?
go, Stephen, just got a few thank yous. Malkit says, as always, beautiful.
Sorry, could you say it again? It's so hard to hear you. Say it again.
Malkit is saying, as always, Stephen, beautiful.
As always, Malkit, beautiful you too. Thank you. Thank you.
Afka says, with gratitude, and what a timing. I'm whole again after the turmoil lately. Thank you.
What wonderful. Bless you, Afka. And thank you for being here.
And Inga says, thank you so much, Barefoot. I cannot tell you right now how this one is working magic in me. Perfect timing and beautiful.
Oh, I'm delighted, Inga. Yeah, I'm delighted. I wanted to make a rhyme up with that. You got your finger on, you know, Inga's finger on the pulse, but it didn't come quick enough. Bless you. Thank you.
And Sarah in Houston says, thank you for this wonderful Sunday. Thank you for everyone making this satsang possible.
Thank you, Sarah, for coming here and bringing Houston and the wonderful energy of Houston into our midst.
Now, this is fortuitous because Sylvia's just said, you were my birthday present. Love to you. And I was just going to say, I wondered if you could give a shout out to Ross for his birthday, because his wife Alice wrote into to us, so I thought you might just want to wish him a happy birthday too.
Yeah, man, Ross, I wish you the happiest birthday ever and the best year of your life so far. And may everything that you want come to you with miraculous alacrity this year. May you be bowled over by how beautifully life treats you. Filled with a million beautiful surprises, your life this year. Happy birthday.
Okay, that's through with the comments.
Oh, what a lovely satsang. I love this one. Thank you. Bless you all. And I'll see you next week. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And cheerio. they're all pain, suffering,